other one to focus on would be Vodafone Idea for sure. I mean, look at what Vodafone is doing. It's zooming ahead in the pre-open. It's crossed that 12 rupee mark now. Okay, now it's cooled off a little bit. When it opened out, it was trading above 12 rupees. And this is one of the focal points that we want to discuss with our next guest. There are reports that are suggesting that the government could look at the next steps for Vodafone Idea, and these steps could include giving the company an interest-free moratorium period of about 4 to 5 years for the payment of the AGR dues. Let's actually go across to Gaurav Malhotra from Axis Capital to talk about this and, of course, other developments in telecom. Gaurav, morning. So Vodafone Idea always gives us the headlines, right? Now, and we're independently trying to assert this and confirm this, but the reports that are indicating this kind of a moratorium, 4 to 5 years, no payments needed, no interest, is just a complete stop on that massive payout of 83,000 crores. Does it give enough of a lifeline for Vodafone Idea to go ahead, raise debt funds, and basically get the business on track?
Yeah, see, the way to think about it is that there are two major items which are outflows, which we need to think from Vodafone's perspective. One is the AGR, and the second is the spectrum dues, right? So in the AGR, we actually forget that there is a spectrum amount of almost 1,20,000 crores also sitting. Now, if this were to happen, what we are reading in the news that if there's a 4-5 year moratorium, it is sort of half and will be interest free. Then the way to think about it is that from this year, the Idea had to pay 16,000 crores just on a yearly basis, just from AGR annual. Now that will then obviously not be there, and that gets pushed to say 2030, 31. From a spectrum, at least in the next couple of years, the amounts are not very significant. It's like 3,000 crores this year, 7,000 crores next year. But say come the year after, the spectrum amounts due will be like 15,000 crores, and then it goes to 27,000 crores. So obviously this helps, right? At least the next 2-3 years, it really helps on the cash flow situation. And then the key variable which we have to sort of understand is what happens to the EBITDA, right? Because end of the day, the funding gap will be a function of how much EBITDA gets generated. So today, the pre-Ind AS EBITDA is around 9,000 crores. Now, if you have to pay, say, 15,000 crores 3 years hence, for spectrum, right? Then obviously the 9,000 will have to sort of move up substantially. So we'll have to see, but definitely if this were to happen, then at least it gives you some breathing space for the next say few years.
So Gaurav, lots of numbers. Let me just reiterate for clarity. What you're saying is that if the moratorium comes in, then on the AGR front, there's huge relief. Vodafone doesn't have to pay the 16,000 odd crores every year. And spectrum, you're saying that though the overall sum is very large, over 1 lakh crores, it's staggered. So it's only about, 3,000 crores every year, which is not, much of a deal.
3,000 crores this year, which goes to 7, which goes to 15, and this goes to 27,000. So that number sort of keeps moving up.
Okay. But it is manageable is what you're saying. The spectrum payouts are still manageable as long as the moratorium comes.
EBITDA sort of moves up substantially from 9,000.
Okay.
I heard an interesting analogy. While this was, I don't know, Gaurav, you can hear me, that this entire Indigo crisis was going on, right? I mean, monopoly and not too many players in the system. And someone said, well, it's the same thing. If anything, the Indigo crisis should precipitate a solution for Vodafone. Because of
what's the link? What? Indigo, Vodafone?
Yeah, because in telecom as well, you've got few players.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's a vitally important sector, obviously. And what happens if so the government would not want concentration of market share just between two players. It would want one more strong player. So
but the government can want what it wants. Ultimately, people have to come in, set up the business, put in the capital.
The business is there. I mean, I have people in my family who use Vodafone. It's just that you got to take a view and the numbers and all, of course. But the point is, it's about relief. I mean, they've got such large and, the numbers, etc. Gaurav pointed out. I don't know, Gaurav, does that make sense broadly? I mean, it's just from a more top-down kind of perspective.
The government has been talking about the fact that they don't want to duopoly in telecom, right? And it is amply clear based on all the interventions which they have taken. So it's quite evident that they don't want a two-player market, even though BSNL is there, but BSNL from a market share is just too small, right, to matter in the larger scheme of things. So they do want like a three-player private market. So like I said, from a relief perspective, this definitely gives a relief for the next few years. And then obviously beyond that, we'll have to see what happens to the EBITDA and how the company can sort of navigate that up move. For it to start making meaningful sense, say from FY29 onwards.
And beyond national good, for which obviously nobody wants monopolies or duopolies, telecom or any other sector. In this case, the government owns almost half the company. So in any case, it has a lot riding, right? It needs to perhaps see this resolve itself.
Interesting one. Now, Gaurav, simple fact, that a lot of viewers will want to understand. Talking about a potential relief, now the stock has crossed that FPO price of around 11 rupees. So technically, that's in favor. And there's probably a price increase as well that's on the cards. Are you factoring in a price increase? There was some murmur that this is likely to come about in December. So run us through that. And what do? 11 rupees, 80 paise. Would you, say that maybe risk reward is in favor? Or no, you would say stay away?
See, the tariff hikes are being assumed across all the operators in their estimates, whether it is Jio, Bharti, or Vodafone. So nothing. So it's not as if this tariff hike needs to come for the numbers to sort of be upgraded. The tariff hike has been delayed, but I think so it's just a matter of time. Our house view has been that somewhere between December to June, December of this year to June of next year is one we should expect some tariff hike of say around 10-12%. See, from a stock, Vodafone stock perspective, it's a little tricky because we'll have to see what is the actual relief. Assume that this relief is what we are talking about, say 5 years, halving of the spectrum amount, the AGR amount, right? So that is actually 3 to 4 rupees, up from a share price perspective. Now, our target price is around 9, so then 9 becomes a 12 and a half. So from our perspective, it really doesn't swing the needle as much. Equally importantly, in Vodafone, we also need to see what happens to the base business, how much capex is put in, and what happens to the subscriber and ARPU trends over there.
Okay, so 10 to 12% tariff hike over the next 6 months. And if Vodafone Idea gets this sort of a reprieve, a moratorium on AGR payments next couple of years, then perhaps it really has a fighting chance to set its house in order. Got that, Gaurav. Great conversations always. Thank you for the perspective, and you have a good day. We look forward to connecting again soon.